And this is John.
Yeah.
Looking at your examples, I'm surprised I didn't see the one days sales outstanding or DSO on that
Yeah.
list. It's a very common one.
It is, and John, it's on there, but it's called account receivable collection days.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere on there, just a different term, but the same thing.
Okay.
But you're right, days receivable, very important number to be tracking. Yeah. So here's, I want to share with you, I think, 5 important questions as it relates to your KPIs. And you'll just, there's not a spot in your handout to write these down. So just find some empty piece of paper. You can jot these down because I think these are important. 5 questions about your KPIs. The first question is, are your KPIs and your corporate goals aligned? Are the numbers that you're tracking and your company goals aligned? So if one of your company goals is we want to improve our profit margins, well, are you tracking the KPIs that are indicative of those profit margins? Are your KPIs and your corporate goals aligned? Are they in sync? First question. Second question, once you've identified the KPIs that you want to be tracking, is how are you measuring those KPIs? How are you tracking them? How are you measuring them? How are you calculating them? And how often are you measuring those? Are you looking at them daily, weekly, monthly? How often are you tracking those KPIs? Third question, who sees these KPIs? Who has visibility to your key performance indicators? Is it just yourself? Is it your management team? Is it all employees? Who gets to see these key performance indicators? Fourth question, how easy are these numbers to collect? There are some key performance indicators, very easy to collect the data, very easy to calculate the numbers. Other numbers can be far harder to collect the data, far harder to calculate. So how easy, and ideally we'd like these to be as easy to collect and calculate as possible. Fifth question, are your employees being rewarded for achieving these key performance indicators? So John used an example of days receivable. And so if I have someone who's responsible for collections, and that's clearly his or her KPI, days receivable, am I rewarding or incentivizing that individual for achieving whatever goals we've set for that particular KPI? Okay. So those are the 5 questions relative to your key performance indicators. Okay. Natalie, thank you for putting those up. Any questions about key performance indicators, tracking?
I have an example of
Sure.
a project I worked on for Schlumberger a number of years ago. When I first started with them, they asked me to look at DSO, day sales outstanding. And one of the oil field services that you have major oil companies and independents. And the credit managers were evaluated on DSO of a combination of the two. All right. And so, what I did is I split the DSO between the major oil companies and the independents, because that's the credit managers, the field credit managers were really only responsible for the independents and not the majors. So it gave you a false assessment of what the DSO performance was of the credit manager. So your whole point of how you measure track is very important.
Yeah.
Because it could send you one credit manager who has revenue of or sales of 50% majors, and only the other one has 25% majors. Major oil companies always pay on time. It's never an issue unless it's an invoicing problem.
Yeah. Very good. John, thank you for sharing that.